Welcome to today's Daily Thought. Our reflections on the Lord's Prayer now move on to the second section of that prayer, having looked at the first section, which is all about the glory of God, the hallowing of his name, the coming of his kingdom, the doing of his will. We now come to the second section of the prayer, which is focused on our own personal, individual needs. Give us, forgive us, lead us. But we don't leave the first section of the prayer behind when we move on to the second half of the prayer. Instead, that first half of the prayer really ought to overshadow the second half. It overshadows every aspect of our existence. In other words, it's only when we grasp the importance of God's glory and we actively seek and pray for the hallowing of his name and the coming of his kingdom and the doing of his will, that we recognize and we appreciate what's important for our daily lives. And so, as we come into this second half of the prayer, we pray for our physical and our spiritual sustenance and well-being. And the first petition reads like this: give us this day our daily bread. Jesus encourages us to pray for real world necessities. And the idea of bread perhaps represents all the basic necessities of life. In the agricultural world of Jesus' day, bread was the staple diet, the basic provision of life. So here are three quick things that I think this prayer suggests. Number one, our dependence on God, and the fact that we pray for such a basic provision in life shows that we are absolutely dependent on God for everything that we have, that the very stuff of life comes from him. And the fact that we may, some of us, have well-paid jobs or healthy bank accounts should never blind us to this fact and lead us into thinking that we are somehow self-sufficient and independent. All of that could be removed at a moment. The attitude of the disciple is to realize that everything comes as a gift from God. The second thing is not just dependence on God, but continual dependence on God. We ask for this bread today and daily. Every day we look to heaven. Every day we're to recognize our reliance upon God. And again, in Jesus' day, most people would only have enough money to get them through each day. They would work for a day, they would get money for that day, and they would have enough to see them through the following day. If you lost a day's earnings, then you might struggle to get through that day. And in many parts of our world right now, blighted by coronavirus, millions of workers who live hand to mouth and who now have no work are facing the stark reality of that. So there is this dependence on God, this continual dependence on God, and thirdly, that we're looking to God for these basics of life. I think it's significant that we ask for bread, for our basic needs, and not for luxuries. There's a prayer in Proverbs 30, verse 8, that captures that same spirit of prayer when it says, give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Don't want to be in abject poverty. I don't want to be necessarily rich. I just want what I need for today. Another prayer by a church leader in the 4th century, Gregory of Nyssa, puts it like this: we say to God, give us bread, not delicacies or riches, nor magnificent purple robes, golden ornaments, precious stones, or silver dishes, nor do we ask him for landed estates. We don't say, give us prominent positions or monuments or statues raised to us, but only bread. So may the Lord help us to truly discover this daily reliance on him for all our needs, a day-by-day dependence on God, where we acknowledge that all that we have comes from Him, and so the development of a day-by-day gratitude. The Lord bless you.